Welcome back, everybody. This is the launch of season 2 of Getting on My Nerves. I have my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Sophie Ward.
Hi. Well, we're
And
great to be back. We're so excited.
we have a jam-packed season 2 for you this year with Lyme Awareness Month coming up in May. By the time this airs, it will be Lyme Awareness Month. So we have a lot of guests that have Lyme disease, and they're doing a lot of great things, just like our first guest today, Angie Mackey. She is the creator and founder of One Lyme, which is a nonprofit 501c3 here in the United States. She is a Lyme warrior, and she has a great story to share with us. We're also going to be talking today about the precautions and like the dangers that Angie and I have both faced using collagen and what happened to us with our Lyme disease when we use that. So we got a jam-packed interview with you today. So let's get started. Welcome, Angie.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. I'm excited.
So Angie, why don't you start by like telling us your story, like how you got Lyme, how you figured out you had Lyme, and how you started, your One Lyme Foundation. Just give us some background.
All right. I can do the Reader's Digest version. So in 2016, I ended up with a small mark on my leg. I'm a dog groomer, was a dog groomer. It was a very tiny mark on my leg. I had gone to my primary, who I'd been seeing for 20 years. And I was like, look at this weird mark on my leg. What do you think this is? She looked me dead in the eyes and said, cheap shoes. And so I said, okay. She goes, you stand on your feet all the time, cheap shoes. I was classic textbook. 2 weeks later, I got a cold. I went back and I was like, I am the sickest I've ever been in my life. Something's really wrong. She did no swab, no test. She goes, oh, you have the flu. Sent me on my way home. No meds, no nothing. And I said, look at the spot on my leg. It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
She said, cheap shoes. So I went and spent $200 on Reeboks. I'm going to get better shoes and get rid of the weird mark on my leg. So I did that. 2 weeks after the cold, I got my very first shock in my ribs. The pain literally was in my rib cage and it felt like someone was electrocuting me. I went back and I said, if I move my arm, I'm getting electrocuted. What is that? What's going on? She looked me dead in the eyes and said, shingles without the rash. Now, quick story for anybody out there, something I've learned along my past: shingles does not move. If you have shingles in your face, if you have shingles on your back, it will always come back in the same place. At the time, I didn't know that. Prior to getting Lyme disease, I had shingles 3 times in my face. Had I known that at the time, I would have corrected her. So I didn't know that. So I went home, told my husband I have shingles without a rash. I was 175 pounds when the journey started. Over a 6-month period, this hit me rapidly and very fast. I went from 175 pounds to 95 pounds in 6 months. It got to where I couldn't move my arm. I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink water. I was severely dehydrated. And the 6 months that I had it, it had already crossed into my brain. It had crossed into my heart. It had already affected my nerves. I couldn't walk. I had started stuttering. I started to where I literally couldn't do anything. I don't want to go to the full version. In the meantime, the spot is getting bigger and bigger. I toured every hospital in Orlando. They all told me same thing: shingles without a rash. I'm saying, look at the weird spot on my leg. The doctor kept saying, cheap shoes. The spot kept getting bigger. At this point, come October, we discovered it in December. Come October, I went to a grooming expo. I could barely breathe. My chest was beet red. I drugged myself to this grooming expo. I spent $400 on grooming shoes to get rid of the spot on my leg. So obviously it didn't. I was covered in little tiny dots. They told my husband that it was stress related and that if I got on with my life, it would go away. At the 2 weeks before Christmas, I had called my husband. I couldn't walk anymore. I was paralyzed completely. He called my doctor screaming and yelling. He said, I'm bringing her in. You better figure out what's going on. She's coming in. I had decided I was dying. We're done. Leave me on the couch. Call my sons. Nobody can help me. I can't eat. I can't drink. I can't walk now. I can barely talk. My doctor decided to look at me and say, well, you work with dogs. Let's check you for Lyme disease. Never even heard of it. I got tested. She had never seen results like that. The CDC called my doctor, wanted to know where I was. She was very basic. She treated me with amoxicillin, 1,500 milligrams 3 times a day. I then met a woman through my son. He had stayed the night with her at her son's house. She called me when she found out. She sent me to my specialist. I met my specialist in January. I had already been on the amoxicillin for a couple weeks. My doctor knew nothing about herxing. That Christmas was horrible. I was so sick. I met her. She ran labs that I'd never even heard of, ran tests that I'd never even heard of. I'd never seen anything like I'd ran. She called me back. My specialist is in Tallahassee. She called me back. She said, I need you to come in right away. I said, there's no way. You're 4 hours away. I won't make it before you close. She said, I need you to come in now. She goes, we will wait for you. And they did. We arrived after hours. The CDC had contacted my doctor. They brought me in. Lyme was the least of my concern. I had so many bands. Lyme was a concern, but it wasn't the problem. I had Rocky Mountain spotted fever. They wanted me in the hospital. Because she had already started to treat what was in my ribs at the time, I trusted her. So the agreement is that she could treat me if I signed forms, but the CDC would follow my case. I had Babesia, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Bartonella, coccidia, human parvovirus. I have I had over 50 co-infections. At the time, we didn't know how severe some of them were. We did a 1.5 years of Rocephin. The CDC said that I had to stay on it until my symptoms got better. So the insurance refused to port, so I had to do IVs in the hand, in my arms. My arms are shot. If you go to get an IV out of me now, they're like, I must look like some old heroin addict coming in because I'm such a bad draw now, right?
Yeah.
But I was having hearing issues. So after we finished the IV Rocephin and I started to feel better, we referred me to a specialist who went in and looked. They found a tumor in my ear canal. They did some images. We immediately had to take out the tumor. The tumor was eating up my eardrum and my hearing bone. Once they got in and did the first tumor removal, I woke up. The doctor looked weird and my husband looked weird. They didn't really say much to me at the time. After I woke up and came home, I was explained that I have brain tumors. They're called encephalocele. They were because I ended up with Lyme meningitis. The Lyme actually ate my skull. It created holes that separate the bone between the mastoid ear canal and the brain. My brain membrane dropped in. It infected the brain membrane. I still have tumors on this side. So 6 weeks after the first surgery, they went in. They had to take out the encephalocele, reconstruct my brain membrane, bone graft, rebuild. I had 4 surgeries back to back, you remember. They had to bone graft my hearing bone. They had to reconstruct an eardrum. They had to reconstruct the brain membrane. They put titanium in the top of my head. And then about 6 months after that, I was due to have the tumors on this side addressed. That was when COVID hit. When COVID hit, we didn't know how to test properly. They didn't know at the time that if you've had brain surgery, you shouldn't test people
Right.
through the nose.
Yeah.
What they didn't know also is that I had, most people know when you have Lyme, you build the colonies. So you build the Lyme builds, what is the antibiotic resistant colonies to live
Yeah.
in. I had one in my sinus cavity. They went and tested. I told them how badly it hurt. Within 4 days, I was draining clear fluid out of my nose. There was a colony. It busted that open. It also busted open where they shouldn't have touched because of the brain surgery.
Right.
The Lyme attacked and it ate my cochlear nerve. And now I'm completely deaf on this side. So then I had to have a surgery to put a special implant into my head that a hearing aid actually attaches. It's called a Baha implant. It's not a cochlear. They can't address this side. They could if they wanted to, but they aren't going to. There are still 2 tumors sitting in my mastoid ear canal. If they remove them, they are confident that I will be completely deaf because they're confident the Lyme will affect it because we just have colonies living up there. It did cross into my heart. It ate the bottom right portion of my artery. So now I regurgitate. It created they gave us some fancy name. It's a type of murmur, you know. It gets monitored every 6 months with an ultrasound. My heart does palpitations. They can't fix it or give me medication because I have naturally low blood pressure, and Lyme, as most people know, lowers your blood pressure.
Yes.
It ate where the tick bit me on my leg. It ate the bone in the front of my leg. When I would go in and out of these hospitals, I would tell them, look at this spot. And I'd say, look, my bone, it looks like it's denting in. They told me I was crazy. But I have a dent in the front of my leg now where it ate that bone. It ate the bone in the bottom part of my spine. And so I have severe nerve damage. I call it, anybody that knows me knows I call it my bad leg. And it's severe. I spent 6 years refusing not over the counter prescription pain meds because I don't like that stuff. So I tried every herb, mineral, anything. My Lyme specialist and I tried everything for me to avoid any kind of pain med to aid with the pain in my leg. Some days it got to where I couldn't walk. I no longer could do that. So I had to go on a prescription medication for the nerve pain. It's a very low dose, child dose, and it's working because I just couldn't manage anymore. And that's even with my medical card, because I know some people say CBD and get your medical card. I have that, and it helps, but it didn't stop this pain because the bone was eaten. It also, because of the surgeries and because it had crossed in and damaged so much of my skull, I'm now on a prescription medication for the migraines. When we touch base on the collagen, I'll give you the whole going up. Lyme started to affect my eyes. So as most Lyme people have, we have light sensitivities. It affected my eyes. My eyes started shifting back and forth, which they were doing already due to the tumors, but they became severe. The migraines became severe. I now go to vision therapy twice a week. It is a permanent situation at this point. My specialist is fantastic. He is Lyme literate. He has some other Lyme patients in there. I now have double vision. I didn't have it before. I didn't have it before I started taking collagen. Anytime you have a flare up, something new happens. So that was my new that happened. On top of the new that happened, I now have a bladder problem. The bladder became inflamed. It ended up giving me severe issues with my kidneys. We got those under control. But now I have a bladder issue. I'm on a supplement for it because I refuse what they offer. If the supplement doesn't help, then my next option will be straight ozone into the bladder. But so far, the supplement is solving the problem, which is great because I wasn't really thrilled of that ozone and the bladder issue. But besides that, I'm doing great. I am up, I'm walking, I'm running my foundation, I'm doing much better. You know, you just get through. That's it.
Yeah.
Your story is amazing. And I know you gave us like the Cliff Notes way of it because like it was way, way worse than that. Angie and I have been
Way
friends
worse.
since 2017 is when we met.
2016 was when it
16.
started.
Well, I
Yep.
mean, when you and I met, it was 2017, right?
Yeah.
And I was amazed by her. We met when we were both going to a Lyme conference and I was speaking at it and I brought you up so you could tell some of your story. But like, I remember her, she had like such a I had a strict routine, but this woman had like an even stricter routine than I did. I mean, she was up before me and she was going and like, you know, and it was just, it's been amazing to watch your journey, honestly, Angie, because your story, there's so many of us that have such similar stories, but like with your story, you just had one thing after another, which I know a lot of us do, but yours was like intense stuff. And I remember when you were going through it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. It is amazing. You are here. You are a miracle, girl. You are a walking miracle.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think the hardest part was waking up and finding out you had brain tumors and that it was Lyme
Right.
related.
Now, I
You
want to
know?
ask this, and you may not be able to answer this, and I understand if you're not, but weren't you misdiagnosed? Then weren't they missing those tumors at first, and that's why they got so bad?
When they were. When I was going through the search of finding out what was wrong, and every doctor in the world was trying to figure it out before we knew I had Lyme. My primary at the time sent me to a neurologist because I was starting to stutter. And I kept telling her that my head was spinning. At one point, I can remember saying, I think I'm having seizures. Something's wrong. They did an MRI, and they came back and told me everything was fine. Now, when they found the tumor in my ear, and I met the neurosurgeon, after the brain surgery, when they found the tumors in the brain, that happened during the first surgery. They found out that I had these brain tumors. The reason why, for people that are going to ask, prior to Lyme, I am highly allergic to all dyes and contrast. That was prior to Lyme. I cannot have any of them. So when you do MRIs or images of anything on me, it's just shadowing. But please note, you can do all images without dyes and contrast.
Right.
They can find things without them. So they didn't see anything more than just shadowing. So they didn't realize that was a tumor sitting there until they went in and did the first surgery. Then when we woke up, we found out it was the brain tumors. So when I met the neurosurgeon, he was like, oh, so you're the girl with all the holes in your head. And he didn't really have an answer as to why we had holes in the head. He sent me to collect all the paperwork from the original MRI prior to Lyme. I went and collected that paperwork. This part is a little hard for me because it was the most infuriating part. I collected that paperwork, and like most of us, we look at it. Why not? It's ours, right?
Right.
I opened it up and I saw an email where the neurologist had emailed my primary, and she stated in that email that this patient has a brain leak in the mastoid ear canal. And the radiologist said, we believe that there's a glioblastoma, maybe another type of issue going on. How do you want to address this? And it was ignored. They looked me dead in my eyes and they said, nothing's wrong. Some people will say, can you hire an attorney? I did seek an attorney. There are two questions when it comes to something like this. The attorney said, the main question is, would the outcome have been different? And so I had to ask the neurosurgeon and my surgeon, would the outcome have been different? Unfortunately, it would not have. We still would have had to wait for me to go through the Rocephin treatment, because at the time then, I had the Lyme meningitis. And they didn't know at that time, but the CDC, from my results after they found it, knew that I was sick. So I had no choice but to go through treatment. But because the tumors were there, the outcome would have been exactly the same. Nothing would have changed in my situation. So you can't sue them for ignoring it. I wish you could, because maybe we could have treated it sooner. Maybe we could have started treatment a little sooner. That was only a few months in. Maybe it wouldn't have had time to really settle in. I've met very few people that have brain tumors from Lyme. I've met very few people that have had Lyme meningitis and survived it. I've met very few people where the Lyme has actually eaten the bone. So I'm blessed that I'm able to walk, I'm able to talk, I'm able to function. But 3 days a week in vision therapy, and basically the surgeon looks at you and says to my husband and I, her skull is so thin, she doesn't need a helmet right now. But if she falls and bumps her head, she has to go to the hospital. I had a box in our house fall and hit my head. It had a little, whatever the heck they're called, little guitar, bump my head. We had to go get it checked. That's how thin. To sit in an ER to wait to have an x-ray done of your skull is stupid. But that's my life, because somebody chose not to look at an email. 2 of them. It's okay. We're good.
It's amazing. I mean, it's mind blowing because I know like Sophie, but myself, there's so many of us that have went through different types of this neglect. And I mean, that's what it is. And,
It is
these
neglect.
doctors, they're supposed to like do no harm and like they're supposed to have your best interest and like try to, but they're not properly trained.
They're not.
My primary care physician, he always has like residents that come in. The first and second year residents, when he'd tell them I had Lyme, they'd be up against the wall. They wouldn't talk to me. They were scared. But the third to fifth year residents, they're like, can I ask you? I'm like, ask away. I'll tell you anything
Yeah.
you want to know. And they're taking notes. And one told me, he's like, we learned one sentence about Lyme disease in medical school, and it's for acute Lyme. They don't learn about how it goes chronic, what happens after it goes chronic, or the fact that like if you are bitten by a tick and you go to the doctor, they treat you for the Lyme. They don't even test you for co-infections and the other things that tick could be carrying. So that's another reason why you can go chronic. If you don't treat for and test to see, save your tick. If I hear people all the time, oh, I burned it or what, I'm like, no, save that tick
Save it.
and send it into there's technology.com. There's some other places that we can put on here during the video. You send that tick in, they will test the tick and tell you exactly what it has, because there could be Lyme disease, there could be co-infections, there could be, other things in there.
And one of the things that a lot of people state on these websites when I in the Lyme groups, when someone says so and so got bit by a tick, and I have a friend, how many days of antibiotics do they need? We all say the same response. We give that. The part that we're missing is that on top of treating the 30 days of doxy because they just got bit, we can save them. We all know that answer. We also need to treat the viral part. The
Right.
tick comes with viruses. So if we can't get the doctor to give them Valtrex, or the other antiviral, I can't even think of the name right now, but if we can't get them, tell your friend, tell your kid, whatever, get on garlic 30 days, twice a day, treat your viral load as well, and then go and document it. If you went to the ER, go to your primary, make sure that the hospital put that they are treating you for Lyme, not just treating for a bite. It has
Right.
to say Lyme, and then make sure it's documented, because 7 months, a year, 2 years down the road, when you get sick and no one remembers why, no one knows why, you can reference, say, wait
Right.
a minute, I was treated. That's a big fault, is that they just take the antibiotics, they don't look at their paperwork, and it doesn't say that. It'll just say bug bite. It has to say it. And we as patients are allowed to say, you are allowed to say, make sure it states Lyme disease. And my biggest pet peeve that so many Lyme patients forget, you are allowed to fire your damn doctor.
Yes.
Fire them. Fire them. You may have Medicaid, you may have Medicare, and you may be afraid that there is no other doctor out there. I have Medicare. I'm on secondary for Medicaid. I have fired doctors like that. I don't care. There are 1,000 doctors out there. I may spend a month searching for them. I may have to drive an extra 20 minutes to see them, but I will fire a doctor. I
I don't
will
have a
not
problem firing
tolerate it.
either, but
That's
I have
right.
also
Fire.
been fired by, like, when I first found out I had Lyme, I had CDC positive test. I mean, it was like your story. CDC was
Mhm.
chasing me down, and I'm like, what do these people want? Like, I don't know. So this doctor that was my primary care physician in Indiana, I went in and I was telling her that, I took the test results in, CDC positive, blaringly CDC positive. You don't have Lyme. You need to go to neurologist, you need to go to rheumatologist. And I'm like, I have Lyme disease. I'm like, I have been sick for half my life so far. It was like 16, at that point, it was 16 years that I've been misdiagnosed. And she's trying to tell me I don't have it. I'm like, this is the only thing that makes sense. And I have the test results to prove it. She fired me. She sent me a letter and said, you are no longer allowed to come to this practice. So then I had another test done through IGenics and with another doctor, and it gave more, in-depth stuff. That was CDC positive as well. I had 2 CDC positive tests. I called that doctor's office back And I said, I want her to know that I now have 2 CDC positive tests for Lyme disease. I said, there is nothing else. This is it. And the receptionist is like, do you have those tests? And I said, yeah, I do. I said, you want them? I said, I'd love for her to see both of these tests because, you know, there's no denying it. And so I faxed them to her, but I never heard from the doctor. And I was fine with it because I was like, whatever, you're gonna fire me. Like, I don't need you in my life anyway.
Because you said IGenics, I wanted to mention this because I know after my story, a lot of people are going to ask you in your comments what tests or labs I used for testing. I want them all to know I was so positive and had so many bands positive from all of these co-infections that my labs to this day are still drawn just by LabCorp, and I
Okay.
still show up in LabCorp. I have been CDC positive. Literally, I was CDC positive through LabCorp for 6 years. I'm on my 7th year, and my numbers are down enough where the CDC, last year they were down enough where the CDC said, we don't really need to watch her, sent a letter to my doctor, contacted because my case is followed so closely, that we don't really need to watch her. Then I took collagen, it flared up, and they were like, oh, welcome back. You know, so they're dropping down. I got to get ready to go and do more lab tests again because mine show up in regular LabCorp. Not everybody does, but I just wanted to make that because a lot of people are going to say, what lab did she use to get CDC positive? I'm regular lab quest because I'm so positive.
The first test I had wasn't through IGenics, but the doctor did hair, blood, saliva, stool, and what's the other one? Urine. He did all those and it came back CDC positive. And so then I had the second test done because the second test gave me like how many bands of Lyme. I had 12 bands of Lyme. I had 2 strains of Bart. I had an unidentified protozoan. I had the Babesia. Like, it was crazy. And I'm like, whoa, because I thought I didn't need to know all that. But then the doctor that did that test, where I sent it away to IGenics, I had it tested. She told me, because I was like, well, it's good that I like have 2 tests CDC positive, right? And I said, that's a good thing. And she goes, and I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, it's a tracking device. She goes, they will track you and they'll see how good you do. If you don't make it, you know, like it makes sense when we know everything about Lyme disease. Yeah, you're tracked.
I'm tracked and I'm registered as chronic Lyme. Not many people get that. Some people tell me it's a blessing. Maybe it is because I don't have to fight insurance for treatment ever.
Right.
I literally have a standing prescription for antibiotics and antivirals. I don't have to fight it. They just give it to me. But it is a tracking device. They know every medication I'm on. They know what I'm doing. They monitor me very closely. I know they're waiting for me to die and they probably would love for my body to go to science. You know? They're like, please let her come to science so we can see what kept her alive. That's horrible.
Your will and your hope and your faith, like all of it. Like this woman is so strong. I'm just telling you, like she is amazing. So all of this, everything that you went through, you decided to create One Lyme. How did that come about?
I did. I sat in an IV room and out of city every day for 4 days a week. And I was blessed. My husband and I had a wonderful nest egg. And my insurance was covering all of my Rocepin. It didn't cover my staying out of town, my hotel or food or anything like that, but we had a nest egg to help with that. There was a woman in the IV room, and I'll never forget her. She sat next to me. She had a 24-hour amoxicillin antibiotic pump that was pumping amoxicillin into her 24 hours. And she was getting IV Rocepin on top of MAH, which is ozone therapy that I also did. Sweetest lady you ever met. She was beautiful. She was just so beautiful. Great spirit. As we got to talking, I learned that she lived in her car. Her boys lived with her father, or her ex-husband, sorry. They lived with her ex-husband. She lived in her car because she wasn't as blessed. Her insurance was not covering any treatments. She had a choice to make whether to pay for her treatments or pay for rent. So she lived in her car, and my heart was broke. I came home to my husband, and I mean, I was just crushed. And I came home for the weekend, and I was like telling him all about her. And I said, we have got to help her. And you might remember her, Angela. When we first met at the Lyme convention, she was, I don't remember if she got up to speak, and she might have at the very end. She was very skinny, almost looked like a model. She was a beautiful girl. But she was there at that convention. It was the first time I ever saw her. And then I saw her a year later at my doctor's office. Anyway, I came home and I told him, I was like, we got to help her. I got to help her. It's breaking my heart. And he looked at me and he was like, I love your heart. He goes, but it's costing everything we have to treat you. He was like, I can't buy someone else's medications and supplements and pay them. And I said, well, I've got to help. I got to do something. So we decided to start our nonprofit. I didn't want to do the one on, like, I can go online and you can start one for $500. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure that I had educational license so that I could go into possibly a hospital and educate the nurses. Normally when nurses are first hired into hospitals, they do classes before they go in. I wanted to be able to go in and talk to them, go in and talk to other places, businesses, and do that. I wanted to be able to be donated anything. Like if someone donated a car and I knew a Lyme patient that needed it, I wanted to be able to transfer that. If the foundation got big enough, I wanted to be able to hire people to help manage it and run it. In order to do that, you have to have a really big company help you build this. So we hired an attorney. My husband and I spent about $4,000 to build my foundation. I have my educational license. I am a nonprofit. Right now we're still small. I collect a lot of donations. I resell them. All funds raised go to patients 100%. I also work with supplements that I support. I don't support all the supplements in the group, but I support a portion of them because I take a portion of them and I know that a portion of them help. And so I sell those through the nonprofit. All of the funds that come in through that go straight into the nonprofit and again go back out. It's not a lot. At the end of the year, I'm lucky if I can maybe send $50 to $100 to $200 out for the year, $50 increments to people who might need them. Throughout the year, I've been able to transport patients to doctor's offices. I've been able to pay for a patient to see a doctor. I've been able to pay for a patient's glasses. So we're still small, but each year we get a little bigger. So that's where we're kind of at with it. We're in our 5th year. I think, yeah, I'm in my 5th year with the foundation.
Yeah. Because I spoke at your
my
first,
my first one.
And I did readings for everyone at her first Lyme event. It was so fun. I was so nervous too. I don't even know why I was nervous, but I was. But once I got going, I was good. But it was
we
it was
had
amazing.
such a great time, and our goal is to do more of those. COVID really set us back. We had such a momentum of building up, and then COVID really struck us hard because you couldn't resell things because no one wanted to touch any items.
Right.
So that became very complicated. We couldn't have our end of the year event like we had done because you couldn't have a gathering. So it really, really hurt us, and we're still recovering, as many companies are. We're still recovering.
Right. It's amazing though, like all those people you helped, even though you said I can only give $50 or I only was able to do this, that was something that you helped that person with, that they were struggling, and that took something away from them that they were worrying about. Like,
Absolutely.
it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So I'm talking a lot.
I know. I'm just like absolutely amazed because I had meningitis due to Lyme, but I've never known like the effects that it's had on me. I just actually thought I was gonna die. because I just literally couldn't lift my head off the pillow. I felt like I was in a coma. I felt like my head was going to explode. And it was like awful. I think it took me about 3 months to get over it.
Oh,
And I was on penicillin for 8 weeks of that, like the highest dose I could be on. But like I felt like death. And like when you just said that, like that's what that was like, oh my gosh. Like I never even thought, I just thought, oh, I'm over it now. But it's yeah, and you've really touched me there. I'm like actually taken aback. So you've done amazing with
thank
like how
you.
far you've come now, because credit to you, like it's tough, it's rough.
Thank you. How long did you fight the meningitis?
I think it took me about 3 months to get over it, and I had it during well, coming out of COVID. It was the end of 2021 when I had it really bad.
They
But
found
yeah,
it quickly though?
yeah, luckily, yeah, I did
Oh,
blood
good,
tests.
good.
And it literally, it was just pot luck, really, because I was going down to my Lyme consultant, and I just said to him, I was like, I've not been able to walk the dogs, I've not been able to get up, I've just felt like I'm in like a coma, and he was like, right, well, like we'll do some bloods, and literally the bloods came back, and he was like, you need to start treatment now, like it's bad. And he would have kept me in clinic, but because it was Christmas break, he was like, I can't do anything because the clinic's closing because it's a private clinic. So I had to do it all at home. But yeah,
Oh,
it was horrible. But then like you don't realize what it's actually doing. You think about the symptoms at the time and what you're dealing with, but then you don't think about what it's actually the damage it's already done that you can't
yeah.
really fully repair.
Now, do either of you have like a flare from the meningitis, or is it like, do you totally eradicate it? If it's viral, does it go away? Does it stay?
I I don't know if I would call it flares. I get a lot of pain in my head, um, occasionally. Sometimes I will catch myself stuttering from swelling.
Yeah.
Um, I get my ears ring anyway, but sometimes I can tell when I'm having some inflammation up in my brain and my ears will ring really, really loud. Most times because I'm on antivirals all the time and because we pulse the doxy so much, I think that if I were to have a serious flare, it would be kept at bay. But I suffer a lot of damage in my neck and in my, like I said, my head. I think that when you suffer a form of meningitis to any extent, whether you have the holes in the head like me or like she does, um, the just that you still feel the
Headache.
swelling. I
Yeah.
don't know if you do, but you get the swelling and you get the
I
headache.
feel like your head's going to
Yeah,
explode. It's like that
like it's
bad.
in a dice. Yeah,
Yeah,
and the it'll hurt your eyes, and
yeah,
the light sensitivity seems to have increased from it. Lots of pain at the base of the neck, lots of
yeah.
pain in between the shoulder blades, I think, and it comes and goes. I notice that when the inflammation goes, I will stutter, and then I'm like, all right, I need to shut up and not talk to nobody because I sound like a fool right
Yeah,
now, you know?
yeah.
So, Sophie, do you have when I don't know what to call it. Is it just an ongoing thing or does it flare or
I've had a
I'm
few
realizing now I'm very
felt like
lucky. I don't oh sorry, Sophie.
it's all right. It's okay, go on.
No, I was just saying, like, listening to both of you, I'm thinking, well, God bless you both because I can say that's one thing that I've never had, but like I'm sitting here amazed at even more at you two ladies because of what you've been through. So, Sophie, go ahead before I cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I've had a few times where I've had to ring 111, which is our like NHS emergency line, because I get like the spine pain where I can't even lie on my spine because it's so tender. And then the head starts, and I'm like, I can't go through this again. But the NHS, they're like, oh, well, if it becomes severe, we'll do something. And if it's viral anyway, all we can do is like rest. And I'm like, but I've got Lyme disease. But in the UK, Lyme disease doesn't exist. So they just don't, it doesn't even calculate in their brain. So then you feel like you're having to deal with it on your own. And then like you as like just one person, not well, you do because you're knowledgeable because you've gone through it, but you're almost like, well, where are the professionals helping me? Like I'm only one person. Where are the people that are medically trained?
Oh my gosh. I will tell you, Sophie, get on garlic if you're not. Take it daily so that you're on an antiviral. Um, because even since you've had it, you're high risk, period, of getting it again. Because I have tumors sitting in this ear canal and they're just sitting there from my brain membrane, I'm at an extra high risk. I can't get my ears wet. So like I got to put plugs in just to take showers because the water can cross in. And then I can end up with a bacterial meningitis versus a viral.
Right.
But I do stay on the Valtrex. I live on it because of the issues and because of my Epstein-Barr. But
Yeah.
because you've had it, if they aren't giving you an antiviral and it's harder there in the UK, get on a
Yeah.
garlic. You have got to be keeping your viral down
Yeah.
so that you don't get a viral meningitis back because you're at a greater risk of it coming back, period.
Yeah.
Regardless of what some stupid doctor tells you, I promise you, you're at a greater risk. Doctors like to say, once you've had it, you're good. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Your risk
Yeah.
is greater. Your immune system broke down. It's
Right.
already lit. You're feeling it. I will tell you something interesting I learned. When you have meningitis, you have like a little bit of a leak thing going on. You have all this going on.
Yeah.
I was told by some great neurosurgeons recently, within like, I guess, top tier, whatever, the original Pepsi, right? Not the newer ones, not the Pepsi Zero. And I don't ever drink soda, just so you know. I hate sodas, period.
Yeah.
But I was told when you have a brain leak or you've had aneurysms or the meningitis, things like that, a little shot of the original Pepsi every day, just a shot of it, will help to regrow the brain fluid or helps the spine to reproduce the brain fluid in the brain.
Wow.
Because of the cane sugar and the syrup, but only in the original, not in any of the others. And he said, not a big can. Of course, you'll gain weight. It's bad for you, blah, blah. Just a shot of it a day. I've started doing it. Again, I hate
Yeah.
I think Pepsi
Yeah.
personally tastes like dirt, but I can tell you it has helped a little bit with some of the pressure that I get, because he said the pressure is from when we lose the brain fluid, our
Yeah.
bodies don't produce it back fast enough. And so we get that feeling. So it has helped. It might be worth a try.
Yeah, definitely. I'll
You know?
try anything. I'll
Yeah,
try.
Right?
it might be worth a try. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a shot
Like,
glass.
I wonder why it's Pepsi, because like, you know, like the original Coke back in the day, Coke actually had
Hold on,
cocaine.
sorry, the semi was rude.
Oh, I wondered what that was.
Yeah, I'm outside because the whole house is sleeping, and then the dogs, and then the
Yeah.
semi was rude, drove by. So
Well, I was just wondering like if it was the same with like the original Coke, because the original Coke actually had cocaine in it. So
Mhm.
I'm just wondering what's in the original Pepsi that would help.
I
That's
don't know.
amazing
But
though.
yeah,
Try
because
it,
he said the
Sophie.
cane, the cane
definitely.
syrup and the cane sugar and that syrup create a genetic whatever, and it will help to reproduce or whatever the technical word. I don't know what that word was, and it was hard to hear him anyway. So
Right.
he just said, "You like it now, drink it." So,
Right. Well, you know, most of the time when you do a shot of alcohol or something, it's why it's a shot. You know, you do it fast, and that's how I do
It's
any of
over.
my tinctures or anything I do. And Mom, I have her doing stuff, and she's like, "Well, how do I do this?" And I'm like, "Well, I know you've never drank before, so like you don't understand." I'm like, "But it's just do it like a shot, just fast, just do it." She's learning. I'm gonna try her out on alcohol.
Should be
So-
slurring her words.
I know, right? So, and one of the main reasons why I asked Angie to be on as a guest with me and Sophie is because her and I both had a similar experience with collagen. And
Yeah.
this is this is something we're wanting to really get out there, because every day I see stuff where there's different people posting that, you know, you need collagen, but when you have Lyme, there is a complication there. There is some precautions to take. And so we want to discuss that. We'll discuss what happened to us when we were taking collagen, and then how you can get natural sources of the collagen, what works best. So, oh, you know what? Where can we, before we jump to the collagen, where can we find your One Lyme?
I'm on Facebook, so you can go onto Facebook. It's called the One Line Foundation. You can find me there. If you were to Google my name, it will come up with my tax information, all of that. We have an email, wefightlyme at gmail.com. You can email me. wefightlyme at gmail.com. And you're welcome to email me that way. Or you can message me directly, Angie Mackey, or you can message me through the One Line Foundation. And contact me that way, and I will help if I'm able, or answer
Okay.
questions or talk to anybody.
So how, like, here's another thing. If somebody's needing financial assistance for something, they just go to that wefightlyme@gmail.com.
Yeah,
And
you would send me an email of what's going on. Now, I will say that I have a bleeding heart, and everybody's got a good story. So I send those emails to my husband, and
Arlo.
he has to shuffle through them, because if it was up to me, and I don't have the funds, so if it was up to me, everybody would get something. Even if it was $5, I'd be like, he'd tell me we have $100. I'd be like, give everybody five, you know. My heart's too soft. So he goes through them and goes by need. And then typically, if you're out of state, out of country, and we can't help locally by coming and mailing you products, sometimes it's easier to mail products. Like if I like supplements, you know,
Right.
it's easier and cheaper to purchase the supplements and then ship them. Otherwise, we send off a gift card, you know, like a Visa gift card, so that they can purchase themselves versus money wise.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay. And then what about if somebody says, hey, I've got stuff I want to donate to One Lyme if they live in the Orlando area?
We will come, we will pick it up. Or my husband and our partner, our business partner, the two of them, Brian and Arlo, they will come and pick it up. We can always have it donated to our house. We got home the other night and there was a letter on our gate that said, we have an estate sale that everything else, please come get. Here's our email me. And it was emailed to the gate. So like I have all this stuff, I got to put an email together today for a receipt for them. But I mean, it was just someone that had come to one of our yard sales knew what we were about.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they all know at our yard sales, and they taped a letter. We emailed them and the guys just went and picked it up. We're overrun all the time with donations. Sometimes my house looks like Sanford and Son. But to us, it's our heart and soul, you know, everybody, even my kids. We may step around donations in our house. My guest room is literally stacked high with donations when we do yard sales, and what I sell online. But we all know it's helping somebody. So we'll step around it to help somebody, because my family watched me sick, and we were fortunate, and we don't want to watch someone else that sick.
Right.
So we'll step
Because
around
it is
anything.
awful. I think it's amazing. And like Sophie and I, when we started Nerve of Mind, I said, well, we need to look to Angie for what she's doing with One Lyme. And then there was some other people that, you know, like Lyme Warrior US with Lauren Lovejoy. And there's just some other people that we were looking at and how we wanted to structure Nerve of Mind and what we want to accomplish. Because like 100% of whatever we take in when we start doing fundraisers and stuff is going to the patients. So it's important that we talk to people like you so that we get how to do it and, you know, all that. Unfortunately, I don't know, between me and Sophie, probably James will be the one that'll be like, no, you can't help everyone.
Yeah, because you'll need a third person on your team. There's got to be three of you for your president, your vice president, your secretary. But you want a third person that's going to not have that bleeding heart. Somebody that can go through, because honestly, if it was me, we'd probably be broke all the time. You know, my husband has to look at the account and be like, hey, look, our account, because we could go online every year and do our taxes ourselves. Or not taxes, because when you're a nonprofit, you don't have taxes, but you have to file your reports. You have
Yes.
to do everything legit in order to keep your status.
Yeah.
We hire an accountant. We don't want any mistakes.
Yeah.
So
I'm like
he
that.
if he didn't look at that,
Yeah.
my accountant fees every year, which are close to 500, would be gone, and that would come out of my pocket. So he has to look at and be like, look, we've got this amount that we can help out this year, and this amount set aside for the accountant, and this amount that has to roll over to the next year. Where me, I'd be like, we got this, give it to everyone. It's really important that you have that sound body that is looking at it saying, no, 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 guys, you got an accountant, you need some to roll over. You need, if y'all are going to go and say you're going to get together and do an educational class, or say, Sophie, you're going to go somewhere and do an educational class. If you're going to have gas funds to go do that, you need to have a portion of that would go do that, or supplies to handle that. So everything has got to be broke down. And when we're not doing the podcast, I could teach all about how to, when you start it, how to do everything in events and how it all rolls. It's been a learning experience, but it's definitely been the best experience, better than my years of grooming.
Oh yeah.
Although I do love my grooming and I love my dogs, but better than grooming.
Well, we've got Sophie set up the Nerve of Mind in the UK, so we're registered as a it's nonprofit there, right?
Yeah, it's a non-profit.
Nice.
So, and we have to work up
Nice.
to you have to work up to charity, but we will get it registered here in the US,
Yeah.
but we need to get it going more so that we
Yeah.
can pay those fees to get it set up right. So,
Yes.
yeah. So,
But in the UK, you have to make 5,000. You have to, without any fees on top, you have to have 5,000 in the bank before you become a charity.
Oh my Lord. Good Lord.
So yeah.
it's crazy.
No, I get it. It was 4,000 to start it here if you wanted to do it right. And then
Right.
we paid like 400 to trademark the name. But that's because I
Right.
also trademarked 2 other names. I wanted to make sure that once we trademarked my name, that it couldn't be transferred and 2 other people steal it. So we trademarked 3 names altogether, that the other 2 are like possible changes, what somebody
Right.
could possibly change it to. And then the state doesn't give you that trademark right away. They want to make sure. So they wait a year before they trademark it. So you can have the name
wow.
for a year. And then after a year, as long as your nonprofit stayed afloat, then it's yours. So,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
yeah, so
That's
after a
good to
year, it
know.
was mine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start talking about collagen and your experiences with collagen, because Angie figured it out. Her and her doctor figured it out quicker. I didn't know what was going on with me, and I'd been on it for 6 months. And Angie, you'd been taking it for what, 3 or 4?
No, I literally took it. It took me 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. So I started a specific, if you remember, I started a liquid collagen.
Yeah.
So this was a liquid collagen that had 7 types of forms of different collagen in it, like I guess the 7 different types of collagen. And it was amazing. I noticed changes physically immediately. And I will say this about people who are not sick. If you're not sick, collagen's great. We'll go there. Lyme disease patients, in my full 100% opinion, should never touch collagen, period.
I agree. In
started-
my opinion.
Yeah, in my opinion, should never. I took the first bottle. The first day, I immediately noticed a pain in my stomach. But I thought, whatever, probably ate something. I mean, my God, how often do Lyme patients have pain in their stomach?
I know.
Yeah, exactly. So a couple days went on, the pain increased. So I started to think, is this the collagen? What is happening? So by the 4th day, I took the drink. And they were little shot glasses, like a little glass bottle. I took it. The pain had gotten so bad in my stomach that it was starting to hurt to eat. So then I contacted a naturalist, an herbal doctor, not my Lyme specialist at the time, but one of the workers through this company. And they suggested that I try breaking it down because collagen, when you take it liquid form, you know, like any form, it can go in your stomach. It's helping to detox, which it does. All right. So it's helping to detox the body. It's probably detoxing at a rapid rate because it's such a powerful collagen. So I said, okay. So we shrunk it down. They said, take that bottle, break it into 4 doses instead of 1 dose. I did. I didn't make it to the 4th dose. The pain was so intense. At this point, I thought, it's got to be the collagen. And immediately I thought, I got a bad batch. It's liquid, comes in glass bottles, got to be a bad batch. Put the batch away. Contacted a friend of mine. We ordered at the same time. She was experiencing the same problem. And I said, you know, maybe it's a bad batch. She continued to take it. I didn't because I was convinced this is a bad batch. Mind you, I took this all together 6 days tops, 6 days tops. The rapid decrease of my physical well-being was rapid, so incredibly rapid. Within less than maybe a month, my back started to hurt so severely that I thought I was having a little bit of a kidney infection, but sometimes it's hard for me because I have the damage to my spine. I ended up moving a playpen, a dog's playpen, a metal light playpen in my house. It rendered me unable to walk. My friend drove me to the local primary. She said I threw my back out. I knew that wasn't it. I kept saying I didn't throw my back out. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. By the next day, I couldn't walk at all. My husband had to pick me up and put me in my bed, pick me up, carry me to the bathroom. Went to the hospital, which is a joke. Went to the hospital. They took a urine. They were like, it's fine. Note, if you're autoimmune at all, an autoimmune patient does not present symptoms in urine or physically like a regular person with a good immune system. The minute the regular lab showed that I did not have a UTI, they should have looked further. They did not. They sent me home. That was on a Saturday. By Monday, I ended up at my specialist office. I was driven to my doctor's. I got up there. She ran some tests. She sent a urine off. It came back. I had such a severe kidney infection, I should have been hospitalized. They sent me to a specialist. They ended up, the infection was so bad, I had to do ultrasounds on my kidney and my bladder or whatever else. This sent me into literally a 3-month down spiral. I was in and out of doctors. I started losing weight. This started last August. I want to say October, last August, October. At that point, I had gained weight. I was up to 220 pounds. I am currently still recovering from this collagen moment in time. I am down right now to 159. I am dropping at a rapid rate because we can't get the Lyme under control. We're getting it better, but it's still hard to get under control. The kidney doctor cleared me. They sent me to a urologist. That's when we found out about the bladder inflamed. The bladder's inflamed. It started to affect my stomach at such a rapid rate that now, out of the blue, 7 years with Lyme, I never had a meat issue. I'm now can't tolerate the beef, cannot tolerate pork. I'm losing toleration to so much food that I'm down to vegetables and chicken. I can't pretty much tolerate anything. I'm doing okay with yogurt still, which I like, and cottage cheese. But I'm down to literally basics. It still hurts to eat, but we're getting better. It immediately affected my bone in my back again. I mean, it was like it woke it up at a rapid pace. And anybody that's had gone into, I was in full remission for a year, complete remission off of everything, not a medication, not an antibiotic, not nothing. This collagen woke it up with literally within a week. It woke it up. And anyone that's gone from a remission to a full-blown wake up like that, it attacks faster and at a faster rate than it attacked when it first started. It just went on full blown from August of last year to where we are right now, I'm now seeing a urologist. I'm now vision therapy because it attacked my eyes so rapidly. I have these stupid things on the inside of my glasses to keep my eyes from shifting. I've had to have special medical whatever paperwork to have special tint put on my car because I can't handle the light. Where before I had light sensitivities like we all did, it is severe now.
Mhm.
The double vision, the pain in my back, the bladder that stays swollen. Luckily, the kidneys didn't suffer much damage. It's very mild. My kidney doctor is amazing. He has cleared me. He has said that if anything, the other kidney infection, I will come to him directly. It is, in my opinion, severely dangerous. These people that post about collagen in the Lyme groups, if you pay attention, they always post an article where they state Lyme and collagen. Most people glance at these articles and they don't read. I started doing research right away. Now, if you Google something, it automatically tells you how important Lyme and collagen is. But if you really read all the articles, it's going to give you 3 points. The first one, it tells you Lyme, the microbes of Lyme bind to the natural collagen in our body. It feeds on it and it uses the collagen to form antibiotic resistant colonies in your body. So it uses it for it. That's the first thing it does. The second thing it does is while it's in those colonies and feeding on your collagen, it is literally using it to regrow and repopulate the parasites and the spirochetes in your body. It needs it to survive. It needs it. It states it in the article. Every article that you read, it's going to start off with telling you how Lyme comes from the deer tick, blah, 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 all the basic stupid article stuff you see. Then it's
Right.
going to tell you what the microbes do and what it does to the collagen in the body. Then it's going to go down, it's going to tell you how important it is to replace it. Is it? Is it really? Is it so important that we have to replace it at a rapid rate? Now, mind you, we need to replace it. I understand that. It's feeding on it, which is causing an increase to our mobility, an increase to our damage to our bones, to the damage to our brains. I understand that. There are slower rates that we can be looking at. One of the rates would be bone broth that we can touch on in a minute. One of the rates would be in our foods that we already have been eating our entire lives and producing and growing our own collagen within our food our entire life. Collagen has become something that people started taking not for our bones, not for our muscles. They took it for vanity. They took it to
Yes.
get rid of wrinkles. They took it to get rid of cellulite. They took it for vanity. We have changed it. Most of these people in our Lyme groups, please pay attention. Check out their profiles. Look at them. They are distributors from companies selling collagen. They are
Yeah.
giving you stories. Please do your research. I am not the only one. Once I figured out that this was the collagen, I contacted my friends and I said, are you taking collagen? Each and every one presented with the same immediate symptoms: UTI, into their kidneys, into their bladders. Flare ups are happening, each and every single one of them. If you're taking it now and you're thinking, oh, I don't have an issue, think really hard.
Yeah.
Have you had a UTI? Do you have a bladder? Are you presenting symptoms? I went as far as getting into a Lyme group and asking a question. I said, how many people have been, I lied. I'm not going to say I didn't. I lied. I said, my doctor recommends I go on collagen. How many people in this group are taking collagen and doing well? Lots and lots of people in the group are taking collagen. Guess how many were doing well? Just guess.
0.
None.
Yeah.
Not a single person doing well. Not a single person. None of them will link it to collagen. But you don't go from 100% remission, no inflammation. We had it under control. Angie, you and I
Yes.
had it under
Yes.
control. No inflammation, no nothing. You don't go from no inflammation, no nothing to 100% flare. and 3 weeks, and the only issue that you had was collagen. I met into a Lyme group where a woman selling collagen put up a post. She stated in this post, it saved her life. I immediately read the article because, of course, she's pulling it from Google. She's pulling it from PubMed. I read the article. In the article, it stated what I said. Binds to our microbes. It binds to the collagen. It feeds on it, blah, blah, blah. But we need it and you should take it. I immediately go to her post. She is a distributor. A lot of people don't understand that these groups have tons and tons of distributors.
Mm-hmm.
I, as one line, I distribute supplements, but you will never catch me in my Lyme group discussing my supplements, because that is not what I am there to do. That is the wrong thing to do. If you
Right.
joined a Lyme group to discuss your supplements, then you are not in there for the right purpose. Period. You're not. These people came in, they got a little bit of information, they've played around, they've met a few people, they don't actually have Lyme, and if they do, they found something that might have worked, and now they're jumping on the collagen bandwagon, and it's selling, and lots of people are making a ton of money off of selling collagen.
Oh yeah.
They honestly are.
Because it's
But
not
it
cheap.
should-
It's
not
expensive.
cheap, but it should not, in my wholehearted opinion, should not be sold to a Lyme patient in the Lyme community at all. It is dangerous, and anyone that's going to tell
Agree.
me that I'm wrong is wrong, because our paperwork shows what it does. It is so dangerous. Again, food, bone broth, we can get it at a very slow rate, like we did growing up as children. We grew it as children. We formed it.
Right.
We ate the foods that did it. That is the safest way for us to do that. Taking it in a form that's going to grow it at a rapid rate is dangerous. When
Right.
you're in remission, all you're doing is you are a ticking time bomb. Your Lyme
Sure.
is in these colonies throughout your body. Your fibrinogen is so high. Your Lyme doctors probably have you on omegas and
Uh-oh. What happened?
There we go.
Where'd you go?
I'm right here. Sorry.
Okay.
My phone had rang. But
Okay.
you're probably on omegas and something to keep your blood thin, because you start to build colonies and these cysts in your bloodstream, but you're still in remission. Your blood's just getting thick from all of these colonies living in your bloodstream and building up in your body. That's normal. And you should be taking your omegas and maybe even limbrokinase or some sort of a biofilm buster. You can stay in remission that way. But the minute you come out of remission, all of those antibiotic resistant biofilms that have little spirochetes living in them, they open up. That's the end. They open up. And they attack, and there are more of them in there than there were prior when you first started. It is a dangerous game.
And see, for you, collagen is what threw you out of, I say wellness, you say remission, I say wellness, but it threw you out of wellness. And for me, I was 14 months in wellness, and then I caught COVID twice in early 2020. So like in February and early March, I caught it twice. The first time I recovered okay. I was fine. It was a mild. The second strain I got, it threw me like I was going downhill fast the rest of that year. And then 2020, I was like or 2021, I was staying afloat. 2022, when I was back, treating big time in 2022. I was like, oh, you know what? Mom was taking collagen, and I thought I should take collagen too. But it took me, because I was already in that flare, like where things were awakened. It took me longer to figure it out, and it didn't click until you told me, because I had ballooned up in my weight. I put on like 50 pounds, and I've been having a hell of a time trying to get it off. It's like you had to go back to square one on everything with treatment.
I'm back on everything.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep. And it's so frustrating. And that's why we're talking about this today with the collagen, because we want to help people, because I'm telling you, you've talked to someone, and I've found 2 people that had been taking the collagen. They were in wellness, and I'll be damned if they didn't have the same thing happen to them that happened to us. Threw them out of wellness, and they had to go back on treatment. They crashed hard.
Hard.
And it's because the collagen feeds the Lyme. So you're taking these powders, these supplements, you know, the liquid, like you took a liquid supplement, which probably got into your body a lot faster. But when you're taking those scoops of collagen every day, putting it in your smoothie or your coffee or whatever, I mean, it's great for people that don't have Lyme. It works great for them. My mom had no
Well, great,
problems,
yeah.
but not for people that have Lyme. And not every day, but a lot on social media, I see Lyme patients posting about, like what you said, like it's collagen, you need collagen, you need collagen. But they talk about supplements, like what you said. You can get it from your food. Now, here's just some things to think about with the collagen. The bone broth is the best way. And like Angie and I were talking about, if you get bones from your butcher, make sure it's, you know, they're grass fed, no hormones, no antibiotics. Make your bone broth, or you can buy organic bone broth at the store. Just make sure it's organic and, you know, all those things. But you also need to make sure, because collagen requires vitamin C. So you got to make sure you're getting your daily dose of vitamin C, whatever that is. You and your doctor figure it out. Amino acids is a protein, they're protein-rich foods to help make the collagen in the body. You also need zinc and copper. So make sure you're getting your trace minerals every day, like the shallotsit. It has over 85 of the trace minerals and vitamins in it. It helps detoxing. It's really good. And that was a mistake that I made too. I was told back in 2017, don't ever stop taking shallotsit. And guess what I did? I forgot. So I found it in my notes, you know, and I was like, so I got back on it. But like, I literally have had to start back from square one, just like you have. And, you know, I had 2 strikes against me, the COVID, and then the collagen, like, just knocked me on my butt. So it's been crazy. Do you take collagen, Sophie?
No, luckily not. And I've never taken any, so
Thank
Good.
God.
I'm
Stay away
going
from
to
it.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay away from it. It's very dangerous. The one group that had posted that, I met the gentleman in the UK through. We briefly talked because the woman had made the post. I read the article, and all I said in it, because I didn't want to down anybody, all I said was, for anybody interested in this post, to please read the article, note the points made on how the microbes bond to the collagen in our body. Note that it states that it needs it to form these biofilms, antibiotic resistant biofilms. Note that it states that it needs this to form the cyst. And then I said, and then note how someone says they're getting healed from it. If you're getting healed from it, then why is it using it to create this? All you're doing is feeding it.
Right.
And I said, you know, a brief Reader's Digest of what collagen did to me. And this gentleman reached out. We messaged back and forth on Messenger. He's in the UK. He had decided to try collagen. He had immediately got sick. He was taking some kind of a powder form. It didn't dawn on him. He was reading the column, you know, the column she had put up, and then he saw my post, my comment about it. And so he reached out and he said, "Are you sure it was the collagen?" I said, "Oh, I'm 100% sure." I said, "Nothing in my life changed. Nothing.
Right.
I wasn't sick. I wasn't exposed to sickness. I wasn't anything. I was taking the stuff for my inflammation. I was perfectly healthy. No issues. I was so well off that I was at the point where I thought, man, I don't have pain. I don't have symptoms. I am doing so well. It's been a year. We might be able to lean towards me going back to work." And then bam, I mean, just as fast as it could. I am still, like I said, I'm still losing rapidly. Some
That's
of it,
crazy.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Rapidly. It attacked so quickly, and we have not been able to get it under control since. It is a dangerous game, and I really encourage the ones that are going to be looking at this saying, "Well, I take collagen." If you're taking it, please think about some of the symptoms that we've said. Are you having chronic UTIs? Are you
Mhm.
having issues with your bladder? Are you having issues with kidney stones or your kidneys or your gallbladder if you still have your gallbladder? Because some of my pain was high like my gallbladder, which I still have. Are you having those issues? Have you reached remission? And if you have, let us know, because I'm dying to know. I'm still compiling my research. But so far, all of my research points to the same. Any collagen at a rapid rate, like the collagen you can buy, in my wholehearted opinion, is dangerous.
Yep.
It's dangerous for us. Get it through your food, get it through some bone broth. You can do it that way. I mean, look
Yep.
at, it's going to sound ridiculous, but back in the day, the older women, you made broth. They came home, the men had their killing, whatever. They boiled their bones, they boiled their vegetables, they made a stock from it. If you look at those women, those were beautiful women.
Yeah.
They were getting their collagen. They were
Yeah.
gorgeous. When we're thinking of what collagen was for, which was for vanity, honestly, that's what people take it for. No one, anybody in the Lyme groups that we're talking to, and some people may jump up and say, oh, I take it from arthritis. You're a liar. You took it because you got some wrinkles. You took it because you're cellulite. You took it because you wanted to grow some hair. If you took it because
Or
you had
your
arthritis,
nails.
you're a liar. That's right. You took it for vanity, because that's what people take it for. That's what markets it. That's when people are trying to sell collagen, they aren't showing you pictures of the inside of your body and what they're doing. They're showing pictures of your face before and after, your hands before and after. That's what they're showing. It's for vanity.
Your hair, your nails,
Yes,
like
it's
all of it.
before and
Because
after. It's for vanity.
as Lyme
And if you're going to
patients,
look at vanity, look at the beauty of the women that were making their own bone broth. Make your own. Get it
right,
naturally at a slower, healthier rate that our bodies can tolerate. Breakdown process that's not as fast. These collagens that you buy are designed to work fast. They're designed for you to receive results within weeks or days. That's too
right,
rapid. It's
you're
too
right.
rapid.
And especially for a Lyme patient, it's too rapid because
Especially for a Lyme patient.
you're
And I would
literally
say for any patient, honestly, not
true.
just Lyme. I would say, because, and maybe I'm going too far into death, but I would say that this would go as far as for cancer patients, for patients with Parkinson's, with MS, with all of that. And the reason why is because these are all types of parasites. These
Right.
all can come back to the same form. And if you're feeding it, any of these diseases, if you're feeding it, you're creating your own mess. I do not support that. If you are
Right.
healthy and you don't have these issues, take it. Get that skin beautiful, or just use some lotion. That works too. But
Right.
don't take the collagen. I just think it's dangerous. I think it's a very dangerous game. And I've met too many people getting so sick from it that were, like you said, in health, in remission. They're getting sick, or they're back to fighting at stage 1. I
Yep.
went from no supplements to the dang bag of supplements and the antibiotics, lymph nodes swollen, pain every day. I shouldn't be back there again.
I had my deep bone pain come back. And I remember telling my mom, I'm like, I started freaking out because I started getting my Bartonella rash that I'd get on my
Yep.
rib cage, and I'd always get it in my groin area. And I was like, because Bart was the beast. That's what I nicknamed it, was the beast. And I become a not nice person when Bart is flaring, because I always said it was Bart Angie, because it was awful. It was awful. And I got freaked out, and I told mom, I'm like, oh my God, it's back. It's back. It's back. And she's like, calm down, calm down. She had to calm me down because I was starting to lose it, because if I could handle anything else, but the Bart coming back was my biggest fear, to be honest, because it was atrocious. So
it is. It's a beast.
It is. Sophie?
Now I've got 2 dogs clawing at me.
I know, my dog is doing the same.
Aww.
And then I've got
beauty.
And I'm
That
like,
was
they're like,
Theo. And then Oscar. Aw.
they've been quiet for an hour, so
Yeah,
let's
they've
give
done
them
good. They've done good. Well, Angie, we thank you for coming on and being a guest on Getting on My
Absolutely. I
Nerves.
thank you
We've
for letting me.
Thank you
loved
so
having
much.
you. She's a wealth of information. She really is. You should go follow her on, she's on Facebook. Her one lime's on Facebook. Like she is just a wealth, and she's so sweet and so kind and
Thank
such a good
you.
heart. You know, she'll talk
Thank
and
you.
help anyone. So is there anything else that either of you want to talk about before we go?
I don't think so. I think we've covered a lot, really, haven't we?
Yeah,
I
we have
think
covered a
so.
lot. It's been awesome. All right.
Yeah, amazing.
So we thank Angie for being on today, and join us next time on the next episode. We have a lot of really cool guests coming up for season 2 and season 3. So just you wait. So we'll see you
I
guys
can't
next
wait.
time.
Thank you.
later.
Bye.
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 Still I'm here trying to work out the best way to survive. I held on to hope, I put on a show.